There we go. Hey, Jen. All right. I figured I could pop in a little early to make sure we can invite you in. So leave a comment, invite you onto the discussion. Hey, here we go. Go live. All right, just accept my invitation. Yay, we did it. Here we are.
Hi. Oh my goodness, it's so nice to look at you.
We've only really spoken digitally, really, if you think
I know.
All right, just accept my invitation. Yay, we did it. Here we are.
Hi. Oh my goodness, it's so nice to look at you.
We've only really spoken digitally, really, if you think
I know.
Oh, and we spoke on the phone once, a long time ago.
A long time ago, yeah.
So tell us where you're coming from as we get people popping in slowly.
Yes, so I live in Collegeville, Pennsylvania, which is about 45 minutes outside of Philadelphia.
Okay, I love Philly. My husband is not a big fan. I went to college at the University of Delaware, so I was up in Philadelphia all the time.
Oh my goodness! Well,
a long time ago.
You need to come. You need to come.
Oh yeah, we'll drag my husband down.
Yes. Oh my goodness, that'd be so much fun.
Yeah, that would be fun. All right, so tell us a little about your journey. It's just 10 o'clock, so I wanted to make sure we were up and out, live at 10. So you want to just give us I've read your book. I've taken your webinar because you're amazing.
You make me smile.
And people are popping in, so just give us some backstory about how you are on this journey.
Yes. So I'll share that I've been on my eating disorder healing path for over 20 years and now have the wonderful, wonderful gift and blessing of giving back and supporting others on their journey as a certified yoga therapist. So that means that I work with people individually, calling on the practices, the tools, the philosophy of yoga to support them in their journeys. And I do that in person here in the Philly area and also online. So it's been really fun to have the opportunity to do both that in-person and virtual work because the virtual work allows me to work with people all over the world. So I'm having a lot of fun with getting to talk to people in different countries. And what really moves me every time, Rachel, is that no matter where you live in the world, if you've experienced an eating disorder, right, we all speak the same language. In that, I think that is such a unique thing that brings us together.
Yeah, absolutely. It's uniting and it's struggle.
It's uniting. Right? That's the perfect word. It's uniting, and it allows us to support each other in a really particular and unique way.
And then what inspired you did you go back to school to get your PhD to do this work, or how did that sort of happen?
No. So the PhD happened long before I even had a glimpse of knowing I was going to do this work. My PhD is actually in literature.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not a psychologist. So my work as a yoga therapist is not the work of a psychologist. I'm kind of part of the outpatient team.
Okay.
Right. And so what I always say is, as stuff's getting stirred up in therapy, yoga therapy is the place where we say, okay, let's create some tangible tools to help you cope as you're moving through that stuff that's coming up in therapy. So that's the difference. But, my PhD's in literature, I finished that back in 2007. And I had taught yoga all through graduate school. I found yoga at the beginning of graduate school, found it to be really, really helpful in my own healing journey. And then after my second daughter was born, I had a really, really severe relapse of the eating disorder. And that was the hardest time ever of my life. Having to leave my family. My babies were just, 3 and not even 1. But I did it, and it was the best thing I could have done because it really put me on my path to doing this work. So while I was in treatment, really came around to realizing that I needed to get yoga back in my life, because once I finished graduate school and got a full-time job, you know, started a career as a medical writer, got married, then had kids. I mean, like, life just took over, and I wasn't making time for yoga anymore. I really got lost in it all. But when I was in treatment, I had to put my mind on, you know, figuring out, what do I need to put in place in my life to stay well? Because the stressors aren't going to go away. I mean, they're just babies. I'm going to have them for a long time.
For a long time.
Right? And it's not that it was the baby's fault. It's all the for me, what felt like such chaos, and like, you know, the sleep deprivation, and, you know, just life is just nuts, you know? Right. So when I came out of treatment, I realized that, you know, yeah, I liked my career, but I wasn't really passionate about it. It wasn't really nourishing me. And that's when I found the yoga therapy program and studied that for 3 years and did a complete career change. And I feel like I've been doing this forever. It's just so natural and like the best thing in the world.
That's so cool. Okay, so I had no idea about any of that, so I'm very excited to learn all of this. And so how did you get connected with the other person who authored your book, whose name is totally escaping me right now?
So Bob Butera and I wrote Body Mindful Yoga, and he is my primary yoga therapy mentor and teacher.
Okay.
He is the founder of the Yoga Life Institute, where I did my training, and where I teach now in the yoga therapy program. But he's been a phenomenal influence in my life, and we had a lot of fun writing that book together.
Okay, and then now you're like touring around. I see you popping up in all different places and on different podcasts and programs and all kinds of stuff. Yeah,
it's been a really amazing journey. I feel so blessed to have crossed paths with so many incredible people like yourself, and I do a lot of speaking on eating disorder recovery and empowerment. I do, you know, yoga workshops related to body image and eating disorders, and I also do trainings for mental health professionals and yoga professionals who want to integrate yoga into their work with eating disorder clients, because it's not what we are necessarily taught in our 200 hour. It's not supposed to be. Like, our 200 hour is meant to prepare us to be able to keep people safe and move them in and out of places, right? But once we get a little more, you know, specialized, especially in something like eating disorders, it's a little bit of a different game. So I take a lot of joy in getting to mentor others in that.
That's so cool. Okay. And so since we have, we have a visual meeting, I don't expect you to get up and like start doing some yoga moves, but are there shapes and poses that you recommend that people can do? Maybe, we're not going to do eating disorder advice here necessarily, but things that help maybe keep you in the present or stop numbing and buffering or control all the fun stuff that comes up as it relates to an eating disorder. And I'm just going to lean in and wave to some people who are joining, so feel free to answer. Yeah, people are popping up.
Hi, everybody. So great to spend the morning with you. So I'm not sure I can answer that in the way that you are hoping me to.
Yeah, whatever you got.
Because the way that I've been trained in the yoga therapy program that I've gone through, and what I believe is I can't really prescribe yoga poses.
Right. Okay.
Right. So I don't have like, oh, do warrior 2 and you're going to feel blah, blah, blah. Now I can say that we can look at yoga poses for kind of the different attitudes that they can help us embody. So for example, going back to warrior 2, it's like a really strong, open pose, right? You're really connecting to the strength of your legs and your arms and your body. And so in that, if we can connect with that attitude of strength, right, then we can cultivate that sense of strength within our being, right?
Okay, yeah, that makes tons of sense. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Warrior shapes too, because for exactly the reasons you described.
Any shape, and think about what are the qualities that you feel you connect with. Like what's the quality that you feel like you connect with in tree pose? What's the quality you feel like you could connect with in, I don't know, triangle pose, right? Like, or, when you think of triangle pose, what are the qualities of that pose for you? And as you're in that pose, you can intentionally start to breathe with that kind of idea of that quality or that attitude of the pose and begin to cultivate it. And I think that's one of the really powerful things that's possible with the movement aspect of yoga.
Cool. Yeah. So like kind of tapping into maybe even an archetype, right? Like even if you're not feeling strong, you could get.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it doesn't even have to be warrior 2 equals strength. It could be whatever it is for you, right? Maybe when you're in that pose, you feel a sense of confidence, or you feel a sense of groundedness, or whatever it is that you sense, right? Like, I think having that moment of acknowledging, like, oh, wow, like in this moment, I feel grounded. Cool. Like, I did that. Like, I did that for myself. I connected to that sensation, that attitude.
Yeah.
For myself.
Okay. And so sorry, I'm waiting for more people to.
Lisa's one of my best friends from forever and forever.
I'm so excited to join and see you. So, I was thinking about, one of my favorite modules in your training was the finding your ground, because, I'm the grounded therapist, so I do a lot of grounding work, so I really, really connected to that. And do you think when people are feeling stirred up, even if it's not about eating disorder, I think self-esteem is like a big piece that comes in for most women. I'm not going to generalize, men experience that too, but since both of our populations often are women, any kind of advice or support or guidance on like when our confidence seems to be, in the low down, right? Of like how to maybe process those emotions or not ignore them, and also finding our ground to kind of boost ourselves back up.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different ways to answer that. And the one that's coming to mind for me in this moment is, I will often say to myself or to clients in those moments when our thinking is spinning, right? And we're spinning about, to use your theme here, not feeling confident, right? That's the moment that we actually need to find the ground, right? Because we're not connected to the ground at all. We're living up here. Right? And so our feet and our hands are incredible tools for grounding, right? And so, or if you're seated or if you're standing, like find a structure and let the structure remind you that you are steady and you are supported and you're here now, right? So I'll often say to people, find the ground, right? And literally bring your eyes down into your feet and like notice the ground beneath you, and create a purposeful pause, right? Because we can't get clarity. We can't shift a perspective. We can't come back around to being like, oh wait, I'm freaking confident. What the hell, right? We can't come back around to that until we get that pause. And when we realize that we can actually turn toward our bodies to help ourselves in that moment versus turning away from ourselves, whether that's continuing to just like spiral out of control, whether that's reaching for some type of, external validation or some type of behavior that, feeds that sense of not being confident versus lifts us up. That's all turning away from our bodies. That's all turning away from ourselves. So, wow, like use your feet, find the ground, come back to your breath, take a pause, right? And begin there.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I think that is such great advice for anybody, right? Even if it's not about confidence, it's just anything. I constantly take my shoes off and put my feet on the floor throughout the day, just because it's like, okay, be in this present moment with whatever's coming up, and everything will figure itself out. And if you don't, you'll still take action because you can be present with whatever's happening and what's going on with you. Yeah.
And remembering that you don't have to figure it out alone either, right? Like sometimes we find the ground and realize, okay, you know what? I know who I can ask for a little support right now. Or, oh, wait, I know where I can go to find the answer. Or, we don't have to figure out everything out by ourselves.
Right. Support. Oh, so important for resilience, right? Just embracing all of our team, whoever they are. They get to be anybody. Yeah, totally. Okay. So we've got some advice going on. Any sort of things that you want to share on your journey? And especially, you must have done so much research. I have so many questions about how the research process went, and then where are you traveling? Where's the favorite place you've been so far on this order of the book?
Well, I'm still hoping to get to Mystic to see you.
We need to figure that out for For sure. Yes, we will plot to get ourselves together.
Yeah, for sure. I have some great stuff coming up. Actually, next week, in honor of National Eating Disorder Awareness Week, I'm heading to Rochester, New York from Wednesday to Saturday.
Yep.
And giving a few events there, including a training for yoga teachers. I'll be speaking at a treatment center and doing some fun stuff. So that's on my website. And then after that, going to Iceland.
Oh, right. You have like a big cool trip coming up. That's right.
Yes, there's a retreat that I'm co-leading with Melanie Klein. It's March 14th to 21st. And we still have some spots left. So if anybody has a desire to go to Iceland, we're going to do this wonderful adventure, all while exploring how do we, appreciate our bodies? How do we be kind to our bodies? How do we accept ourselves? So I think it's going to be pretty powerful.
Wow. All right. So that's actually a great theme. Oh, let's see.
Yeah.
My mom is saying goodbye. So as far as the acceptance, that's actually a really great theme to talk about. Because I think even whether it's eating disorders or anxiety, or even depression, right? It's that acceptance is really hard. It is hard because you have to keep doing it. So what are you any things that you teach or you want to share about acceptance? That's something I talk about all the time, daily, weekly.
Yeah. Well, I love what you said. That, acceptance is something you have to keep doing because it is a practice, right? And I guess I would say, I've been learning in my own life and just in my work with others that, that core principle of yoga is so true that if we are wanting to be somewhere other than we are right now, we're suffering, right? Yeah. Because we're resisting the moment and we're resisting all that the moment holds. And so that's just as hard, that's hard. That resistance is just as hard as not accepting, right?
It's effort. It's so much effort.
Right? They both take effort, but one is going to bring us closer to peace. It's going to bring us closer to clarity. It's going to bring us closer to whatever it is that we're striving or in terms of what we want to cultivate in our world, in our resources. So my advice is always around the theme of, contentment, which Santosha, which does not mean that we like what's going on, but it's not comparing to the past, not comparing to the future, and staying open to all the moment holds.
I love that. And you're connecting it right back to all the principles. And we have a question. So I don't know if you can see it on your end. So there's someone on who is a yoga teacher in clinical outpatient setting. Hey, I'm a social worker. I'm so with you. I'd like to further my education and unsure whether to go the route of yoga therapy and MSW or MS in counseling. I have thoughts. Do you want to chime in on yours? Because we both have different backgrounds. So we have different...
Why don't you go ahead? You take this one.
Sure. Okay. Well, always, we need more social workers. So I would push you to social work. And I think that's where I already had passion for social justice, for sure, and being an advocate for people who are disenfranchised, who are not empowered, who are in poverty, who need support and need someone who's not burnt out, because that's a very big burning out kind of industry. That's how I ended up in private practice because of the burnout rate. But I was in there for a really long time fighting for people who needed some support. So I would definitely do the MSW if you can. But I think I did my yoga teacher training too after that, and that was really powerful as well. So I hope that helps. Jen, you take it away on your end.
I think there's no wrong way to go here. Yeah. I think it's giving yourself a little time to reflect on what is it that you want to create in your life, right? So if you're feeling like you want to deepen your yoga journey and devote this next phase of your career more toward the yoga side of supporting others therapeutically, then yoga therapy might be a great path. And I'm happy if you want to reach out to me. I can tell you all about my experience in terms of what that training would look like or could look like and what it includes. I can say off the bat, it was a 3-year training, include everything from, all the yoga philosophies to anatomy, to biology, neurology, psychology. It's so comprehensive, at least the training that I went through. So I can share with you about that. And it might not be an either or. Maybe it's,
Right.
you know.
It could be both. I think if I had known that yoga therapy was a thing when I went back for my master's, I might have done that too, or both, because learning never stops, right?
Yeah.
And it's actually a really cool journey.
It's a much newer field, so, but, you know, there's a lot that's possible with that. I would say at the minimum, you know, you probably already have a trauma sensitivity training, but if you don't, I would definitely get that on board, especially since you're in a clinical setting. And then I'll share that I mentor professionals. So if you're like, well, maybe I'll go get my MS or MSW, but would like a little bit more on the yoga side of things, feel free to reach out and we can work together.
That's a great idea. Yeah, what a cool conjunction. Because that's how I met a yoga teacher who did trauma-informed yoga at my community mental health center. And that's how I realized, like I already knew, but I didn't know really externally, that those are such great overlaps that would have been such a great thing to have. That's how I ended up back in my 200 hour, was because of that. So that makes a ton of sense. And that you get to consult with people. That's so cool. Yeah. Do you do that? Is that a lot, like a part of your, all the things you're up to?
Yeah, exactly. So in addition to the one-on-one yoga therapy clients, I also do mentoring online and people all over the world. So it's a lot of fun. I'm hoping to pull together some type of online program, but I just haven't had a chance yet. But I will.
You're doing a lot, and you have to be good at self-care if you're a person who's traveling around, because that can be a big burnout too. It seems like the person, she's just another yoga teacher, said thank you for all of our insights. So. You're so welcome. And as we wind things down, because you know life is busy, do you want to tell everybody where we can find you? I know you're going to be in Iceland in a few weeks, so you might be MIA for a bit, which is super cool.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. So my website is yoga4, that's the number 4, eatingdisorders.com. So yoga4eatingdisorders.com. You're also welcome to email me at jennifer@yogaforeatingdisorders.com. I'm on Instagram. I'm on all the social media platforms. Rachel so graciously mentioned my book, Body Mindful Yoga, and I'm excited to share that just last week I signed a book contract for another book.
Oh, that's amazing. Tell us when we can order it. We haven't written it yet, so yeah.
So thanks for giving me the chance to actually share that, because I haven't really been putting that out there yet.
Yeah, you have not, because I totally follow all your posts. So, okay. Yeah, I couldn't get a good shot of my bookshelf, but your book is on my bookshelf.
You're
right
so
there
kind.
Shot, so.
I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah. So we can find you at your website. That's amazing. And then do you want to just tell us the 2 retreats you have, or the things you have coming up in the next few weeks again?
Yeah. So I'll be in Rochester, New York next week. I'll be, those events are on my website, but I have an event Wednesday evening at True Yoga, doing a Need a Week class. I'll be speaking at the Healing Connection Treatment Center on Thursday and Friday, and then I'll be at Charisma Bar Yoga doing a workshop and a teacher training on that Saturday. And then mid-March, I'll be in Iceland for a retreat. There's still spots. In April, I'll be in Montreal for a training on anxiety, trauma, and eating disorders and the mind-body connection. So
that's amazing. We're going to talk offline about all of that. Yay!
Yeah, actually not Montreal. And then there's a ton of other stuff on my website, online programs, working one-on-one, all kinds of fun stuff, articles, podcasts, resources that I hope will support you in some way if you find them that they would be helpful.
Awesome. Okay, so you have free resources, you have some paid resources, lots of ways to reach you. That's amazing. And for me, if anyone's tuned in and hasn't met me, because these are all people I don't know, so this is very exciting that you've drawn such an audience. So I'm Rachel. I'm the Grounded Therapist. I'm in Mystic, Connecticut, and you can find me at Grounded Therapist on Facebook and Instagram. And I just launched my free Facebook group where you can get support if you're a woman with anxiety. It's called Uncage with Rachel. And we're having a lot of fun in there. I do lots of themes because they make me happy. So we did our Wellness Wednesday yesterday to talk about what everyone's doing as far as self-care. And if you want to join, it's free, and find it on Facebook. And thank you for tuning in. Any final words, Jen?
Yes, I want to say I would love to join your group.
Oh my gosh.
And that reminds me, I have a group too. It's the Yoga for Eating Disorders community on Facebook.
Okay, awesome. Gosh, you're in everything. Okay, I'm going to keep up with you. Thank you so much, Jen, for taking the time out of your day. And we figured out all the tech problems that I'm constantly learning about every week when I do one of these. So thank you for working with me, and thank you for everyone who's joined, popped in and out. There'll be a replay on my stories, and then I'll get it over to Jen so she can share it in all of her places as well. And thank you again, and we'll be in touch soon, I'm sure.
So
Me too. I'm looking forward to it. All right, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Bye.